I didn't even know Elon was popping off about it too. And by the way, the reason why I'm talking about this a lot is because I think this is actually the most important thing. Because if they can cover this up, they can cover up anything.
Quote, how can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? That post by Elon Musk this afternoon gets at a serious question, prompted by MAGA fans, among others, after the Justice Department asserted in a memo that convicted sex offender and multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein did not blackmail high-profile clients, was not murdered before he was found dead in his jail cell in 2019, and in fact had no client list. Despite the fact that the very same administration officials...
I also like the hinging on the idea of a client list. There are other ways that you could discern a amount of clients that he had. So the fixation on the list is, in my opinion, a red herring. Maybe he didn't have a list, but he had some other form of documentation, or there is some other form of detection that you can have besides a list.
Are now asserting there is no there there. Many of them were the ones ginning up the controversy before President Trump was reelected and while they were in office. The Justice Department memo, first obtained by Axios, also comes 1 month after the billionaire Tesla founder took to his platform X as his alliance with President Trump dissolved. Quote, time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason why they have not been made public.
Bro, this was one of Elon's top 5 best crash outs. The fact that he went and just said this, oh my God. It's a peak one. I think this might be the best one. No. The best one so far.
Public, unquote. Musk deleted that post 2 days later, but the new memo has Musk posting this meme, among others. It's a guy putting on progressively more clown makeup with the text, we will release the Epstein list. We just need more time.
Dude, you're explaining the clown meme to your CNN boomer audience. Oh my fucking God, this is amazing. Wow, bro, we are the mainstream now.
The Epstein list is on my desk.
There is no
Epstein list with full clown regalia.
Full clown regalia.
Art refers to a February clip. The list is on my desk. A February clip from Fox.
Like when you hear that word, like that's like it's in like a fucking it's in like Skyrim or something. Regalia.
Played of Pam Bondi. Take a listen.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
But here was Attorney General Bondi earlier today.
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Trump was asked about the memo today.
Well, that's what you meant. That's just not what you said.
By a New York Post reporter, and he expressed indignation.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Mr. President, the reason people are talking about this guy is because people serving in the highest levels of your administration...
Because he was your guy. He was your guy for 15 years. That's interesting. Huh.
Have been talking about this guy for years and talking about how the Epstein list needs to be released. Here's then Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance in October 2024.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it.
What do you mean by that?
But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Here's Kash Patel.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yeah, you do.
On a podcast just over a year before he became FBI director.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Dan Bongino, a former Secret Service.
It's like, can Kash Patel, can these guys just come out and say, like, yeah, I was just bullshitting. I didn't really know what I was talking about, but I thought that there was going to be a big list, and whenever we looked into it, it turns out that there wasn't. Like, at least if you said, like, I was just bullshitting, I would be like, okay, you're probably lying, but at least you're being honest about lying in a way, right? Like, so they all lied? Yeah, basically. So there are two universes that we live in. They're either pedophiles protecting pedophiles, or they're liars who are lying about lying. Okay. Great choices. Or both.
Service agent turned right-wing podcaster is now the FBI deputy director. Mm-hmm. Here he is on his show in February. He was named deputy director just a few weeks later.
We probably just saw this.
I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not letting it go ever.
You see, like, I've learned this myself, and like Dan should know this. You should know that people are going to bring this up if something happens in the future. You should preemptively know this. You shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't have said you.
Bill Clinton's spokesperson released a statement
you didn't
in 2019
have to say
saying that
this.
the former president, quote, knows nothing about the terrible crimes. We should note the presence
So Bill Clinton said that he didn't know anything about it. Well, that's a relief.
One's name in the files does not mean they were involved in any way in sex trafficking or having sex with any of Epstein's victims. Here's Alina Habba, now interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey. This is her in February.
I haven't seen this.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking.
I'm shocked that none of that's been released.
Me
in
too.
February this year, Attorney General Bondi teased the imminent arrival of the Epstein files, and President Trump's eldest son, Don Jr., posted about the news, quote, LFG, an acronym for Let's Effing Go. A week later,
it's for looking for group, but okay, sure.
Trump administration invited a slew of conservative MAGA influencers to the White House, purporting to give them a first look at a batch of documents labeled the Epstein files, phase 1, but none of it was a smoking gun. The vast majority of the information had already been made publicly available. CNN's Evan Perez reported in March that Attorney General Bondi directed FBI agents, in some cases, to drop their work on China and Iran and focus on redacting the files before their release. Remember, Trump made part of this his platform. Here he is during the 2024 campaign.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
We got to get somebody in there who just doesn't give a fuck. Like, I thought especially after they tried to shoot Trump, like he would just come in there and just like not give a fuck. Just start burning bridges, put Hillary Clinton in jail. Just fucking, like, we got to get somebody in there that just does not give a fuck. And it's never going to happen. I am worried that it will never happen. We have to have somebody who is a professional at burning bridges. Maybe Destiny. If I can think of, there's nobody who's burned more bridges and seemingly also, according to leaks, sucked more dicks than Destiny. Both, actually, in this case. I feel like maybe he's the guy. Maybe it's Elon. It's got to be somebody.
So what's really going on here? I mean, what's really going on? Well, experts such as our friend Julie Brown from the Miami Herald, who's been covering Epstein for years, say that the notion of Epstein having an easy-to-access client list is likely a red herring. And that's what the Trump administration is relying on, that there likely isn't a list per se. But they are also now relying on the fact that...
Okay, so in September 14th, 1994, Bill Clinton had sex with an underage girl. Signed, Jeffrey Epstein. On September 30th, like, do you really think that's the, like, do you really think that's what it was? Like, it's just, what a bunch of fucking bullshit. Dear diary. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that one.
Because it's MAGA influencers who often put forward so many falsehoods, legacy news media won't push the point.
That's right. That's right. Everybody knows that CNN never misrepresents things. Right? Like whenever you photoshopped Joe Rogan to look like an orc, like a green orc because he took ivermectin. Remember that? Remember that? It was kind of dumb. You guys really fucked up on that one, huh?
While there might not be a list, there are certainly files that can be released.
Exactly.
There's a trove
fucking
of information
exactly.
that the Trump administration is right now refusing to share.
He's right.
Information that could well point to the powerful folks who availed themselves of the...
And in my opinion, release it. And if it implicates all of these people and it totally fucks up their lives, hey, wow, shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. Too bad. Well, no, good. No. Keep in mind, it will hurt innocent people as collateral damage. It will. Do it anyway. Burn the motherfucker down. When you have an infection, you cut off the entire limb. You can't save each cell individually.
Trafficking victims of Jeffrey
And this
Epstein.
is a fucking
if you go,
infection.
For example, to the FBI vault online, you can see that there are 22 files containing thousands of pages. Most of them are heavily redacted. Now, sure, of course, redact the names and identifying characteristics of the victims.
This looks like a piece of, like, it looks like a worksheet that I'd get in art class with all the empty boxes.
But why not make the victim and testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still so much we don't know from the investigations by U.S.
No, wait a minute. Let me listen to that again. I wasn't really paying attention.
Identifying characteristics of the victims. But why not make the victim and testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still...
I don't know. You don't need to do that. That's another stupid thing. It has nothing to do with the problem. You don't need to put out any of the information regarding the victims. That was never the issue. That was never the question. That was never the request. Nobody ever wanted that.
So much we don't know from the investigations by U.S. attorneys in Miami and in New York, witness interviews in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New Mexico. Brown writes that there's still more...
He said their statements. I know that, but their statements were made privately, and by publishing their statements, that could... So you could reverse engineer them explaining what happened to them to create a frame of reference of when it happened, and it could reverse identify them. That's the reason why.
Evidence that hasn't been published.
Just ask
including,
them?
Quote,
Yeah.
Epstein kept video cameras in most of his residences, and Epstein's autopsy, nor the report of the investigation into his death, has been made public. So while there may not be an official client list to be released, as the administration is now saying, there's a lot of extra information that is not being made public.
Yes.
Despite Trump's Justice Department basically now saying case closed. This isn't going to go away.
I think we need to keep putting pressure for this. This is why I'm going to talk about this until I'm either bored or until something happens. Probably until I'm bored, but hopefully until something happens.
Pam Bondi went on television and said, I have a videotape of kids getting abused. I followed this case closely, and I know a lot of the people involved, as I've told you.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. Really? Thousands of children got raped? Yeah. Who raped them? Where are the rapists? Like, why aren't they in jail? What? This is the Department of Justice.
Yes.
That is so crazy. This is honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
He's right. This is, in my opinion, This is more sus than 9/11 by a mile. It's more sus than 9/11. It's more sus than Iraq. This is crazy.
And I just think it's very dangerous to play around with this stuff.
That's a fact.
Very dangerous.
Well,
I don't want a revolution, but if you wanted a revolution, this is how you would act.
All right, Jamal, what do you think hearing that from Tucker?
Well, first of all, Tucker is being dangerous by alluding to something like a revolution when we're talking about.
CNN never does that. They never, ever, ever do that.
The MAGA people, because we know that MAGA forces have been willing to use violence in pursuit of their political aims.
Then why didn't so if MAGA people use violence in pursuit of their political aims, why is it that all of the Teslas got burned down when Elon Musk was on the same page with Trump, but when Elon Musk literally made a public statement implying that Trump was a rapist pedophile, not a single Tesla got burned by any of the MAGA people? Isn't that interesting? That's crazy. What are the odds of that?
We saw it on January 6th. You know, Gretchen said something a second ago.
The original sin. The only sin, by the way. The only point that they can really look at, as this was the last, the one stupid thing that happened 4 years ago. This is like, okay, everything is all based off of that.
About is Trump covering for Pam Bondi. But the question also may be, is Pam Bondi covering for Trump?
That's a good one.
We just really don't know.
Nobody
Donald Trump
knows.
has been very forceful. He's a great television performer. When the question of Epstein comes up, every time he dissembles, he attacks the reporter. Remember before?
It's true that he's right about this. Like what he was saying earlier was bullshit, but he's right about this. Trump, he doesn't do a very good job answering this question.
Release the UFO files. He'll release the JFK files. Will you release the Epstein files? Well, I don't know if we should, do that. Innocent people may get wrapped up in that. I just think something's going on here. We got to keep asking the questions until we find out what's really happening, and they should just release the files.
They should.
I mean, right.
He's
That
right.
seems to be the point, Gretchen. At this point, and this is something that has been spun up, right, by some of the very people who are now saying, I mean, when Kash Patel and Dan Bongino came out.
This is a great episode of America. You should wait for the season finale.
Recently and tried to downplay the Epstein files. They were eviscerated by the MAGA base, right? And now this is putting the whole thing on steroids. Far-right activist Laura Luma, Gretchen, we know Trump listens to her. She has been hammering Pam Bondi on social media. She posted, "How come we can't talk about what a dumb, lying bimbo Pam Bondi is? JD Vance, please encourage President Trump to fire Pam Bondi. She's a disgrace." So
she's not the one that made this decision. Like, I agree that she's ineffective, but she didn't make this call.
what do you hear when you hear this? I mean, look, Laura Loomer, we know, has had very specific...
Why does Bembo come into it? This is just what girls do. It's just what they do.
Tangible influence on Trump on big decisions.
Yes, in national security, specifically in the last few months. I do think she has Trump's ear. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Trump seemed to be protecting Bondi today. But I think one other really important point is in this second administration, we have seen a lot of MAGA supporters of Trump come out and be totally against him on really big issues. And what I think is fascinating is that he can go after people who are in groups, like lawyers, like members of Congress. I'll primary you if you don't agree with me. But with these single influencers, he's not doing that. And I think that...
because he can't. Like, it's a lot easier. Like, if somebody like me was running for office bringing this shit up, he would be talking shit about me. But he can't do that. It's just some Twitter page. You can't do anything about it.
Raises a huge question about whether or not he has the power to actually silence them.
Right? And Jamal, I guess the
well,
whole
he shouldn't have the power. Like, he doesn't have the power to silence the politicians either. He's just funding his opposition. Like, that's like, he doesn't have the power. Like, is this some kind of like a play? Wow, Trump is such a pussy. He's not taking away people's freedom of speech. What the fuck are we talking about?
Question is there really no there? Or is the question, who is covering up for whom?
That is the question. Listen, what is sobering is that Donald Trump, if this were normal times, Donald Trump, he's turned around on Ukraine, and there are people in MAGA who are upset about that. He was in this relationship with Elon Musk, who's now turned on him. He wants to start a party, and so that could maybe peel off people.
We gotta think about that Elon party, man. Like, that's I don't know. I mean, somebody said the treasurer from the party was from India. Like, I don't know. That's a bit weird, right? But like, in a general sense, like, I do think that Elon is right that the party needs to be changed. I think that he's wrong that you need to make a new party. I think that the Republican Party pre and post Trump are two different parties. I think that you need to rebuild the existing party rather than try to make a third party, because historically, every time that's happened, it's been bad. That's my opinion.
Now we've got the Epstein files, or all these things that would normally take down a regular
I agree
politician.
On principle, not
Donald
practice.
Trump seems to be able to survive these things. I mean, he's such a political force, it doesn't really matter. But what does happen is the people around him are the ones who catch the brick. And so the question for Pam Bondi is this going to limit her ability to either be an effective attorney general or to even keep her job as attorney general?
No, she was already being ineffective to begin with.
As attorney general.
Yeah, no, she was already being useless before this. This isn't going to affect her ability to be useless. I think that she's going to continue being useless even without this. Yeah, that's not true at all. The establishment wants you to believe in reform. Nothing ever changes. I think that it's pretty obvious that like a lot of the Republican talking points changed after Trump. Whether you like that or not, or agree with that or not, I think it is true. It's definitely true. So a three-party system is botched. Yeah, three parties are the worst. You need 4 or 5 parties at least. Yeah, I mean, I personally think that Republicans used to care about states' rights, freedom of speech, and the tax deficit. Republicans used to care about a lot of things. Now they don't care about as many things. It doesn't matter. Like, things always change, right? It's always, it's shifting, right? Why does everyone hate her besides the list thing? Because you got these fucking crusty-ass fat kids with blue hair and nose rings talking about killing the president, and nothing happens. That's why. I'll be right back.